How's it going, everybody? So, I just wanted to make a quick video to outline my current ideas on health and longevity and in relation to epigenetics, in relation to what environmental factors create longevity and create health. So, first of all, we have to establish a definition of health. Health is simply the absence of dis-ease, meaning a life of ease, essentially, where you're free of stress, free of pain, free of any type of ailments that can bother you, that can pain you, that can cause suffering, physical and emotional suffering. And longevity. What is the definition of longevity? Well, simply the quantity of years. So health is a quality of life, and longevity is a quantity of life. Okay, I think this is a very reasonable definition, right? So many people sacrifice health for longevity, and many people sacrifice longevity for health. But if you plan to live into your 80s, 90s, and 100s, chances are you're going to need to take care of your health first. People who people who live into their hundreds usually do so with very little health problems throughout their life. And this is usually because they took care of the environmental factors that are responsible for great health. So usually people die of things like heart disease and diabetes and cancer long before they can reach their 80s and 90s. And so this is why taking care of your health is important. They are interconnected, but they're also independent at the same time. So, essentially, it's going to depend on who you are. So some people, they are intolerant to certain foods that they have to remove from their diet in order to prevent suffering. Some people have, for example, Crohn's disease, irritable bowel syndrome, autoimmune disease. These people will most likely have to eliminate grains from their diet, corn from their diet, legumes from their diet. They're most likely going to have to follow more of a paleo-style diet, unless they can use herbs and other supplements and interventions to provide their gut microbiome with the environment necessary to create the bacterial organisms that are responsible for digesting these foods. Gut bacteria is less to do with your health and longevity and more to do with what foods you choose to eat. The most compelling evidence so far that is proving causation rather than just correlating health outcomes shows that the bacteria inside of your gut is mainly the main purpose of it is to digest the foods that created it. When you eat grains, it creates bacteria in your gut to digest those grains. Without that bacteria, your body cannot digest those grains. Grains and all plant foods are entirely digested by bacteria in the stomach. And so don't stress if you cannot digest certain foods. You don't need whole grains to live a long life. However, some of the longest living people in the world have eaten grains. But also, most of the longest living societies in the world eat a large amount of fat. The people of Crete, they eat about 60% of their calories on average from olive oil and monounsaturated fats. Actually, a mixed composition of fats, but predominantly monounsaturated, and coming in second, saturated fats. Polyunsaturated is much less in these societies, but saturated, monounsaturated is high. And animal products generally have a mix of all. Some animal products have more monounsaturated, which is the protective fats. Anyway, so I don't think that you have to follow a ketogenic diet to live a long life. I do think that a ketogenic diet can reverse many different chronic ailments that people die from long before they reach their 80s and 90s. I also think that a ketogenic diet can produce greater health and greater well-being and can create more of a superhuman state for many people whose body runs well on it. Okay? Some people might just not do very well on a ketogenic diet. A carnivore diet can help many people reverse chronic autoimmune diseases and such as well. Does that mean that a carnivore diet is necessary no matter what? Does that mean that it's the only way? No, it does not. Many people just have food intolerances that might be able to be solved through enzyme and probiotic supplements and other herbs such as triphala, which is a tonic, which is a medicinal herb that tonifies the digestive system. But at the same time, many people have tried everything in the book and they simply cannot digest a lot of these more fibrous foods. And there's actually a lot of compelling evidence that shows we don't necessarily need fiber. But that's a whole nother story on its own. The point is, though, you don't need a ketogenic diet. You don't have to eat a ketogenic diet or a vegan diet or a paleo diet in order to live a long, healthy life. Most of the blue zones don't eat any particular dogmatic, tribalistic diet, right? Like a lot of the longevity experts, a lot of the government organizations will want you to believe that these people eat a plant-based diet. The fact is, a lot of them eat a wide variety of both plant foods and animal foods. They eat a variety of animal foods, usually consisting of everything from land animals to sea animals to air animals, like birds and whatnot. And they also eat head to tail, nose to tail. They eat the brains of the animal, the heart of the animal, did I say the brain already? The tongue, the feet. A lot of the most nutritious parts are the parts that Western society does not consume. They consider it barbaric. Most people are disgusted thinking about eating brains. And some people, unfortunately, are brainwashed into thinking that animal products in general are disgusting and they rot in your body and create mucus, which mucus is actually created by your body and not animal foods. But your body is technically an animal food. Anyway, so the most compelling evidence for longevity shows that you can increase your lifespan about 10 to 20 years beyond average life expectancy simply by eating a reasonably healthy, balanced diet and exercising every single day, or at least 5 times a day, in a moderate fashion for most of your life. So if you eat balanced, reasonably healthy, and you exercise on a consistent basis, and you don't smoke, and you don't drink, or you keep it to an absolute minimum, they've shown that the better you are at these factors, the longer you live, essentially. And this is the most compelling evidence outside of financial funding, outside of dietary dogma, outside of any kind of agenda for researchers to fill. This is the absolute most sensible, most credible evidence, okay? Vegans don't want to believe it because that means that you can eat meat diet or you can eat, animal products and still be fine, and animal product believers don't want to believe it because that means you can eat a largely plant-based diet and still be fine. So for longevity, okay, you can eat a general, healthy, balanced diet. You could probably even follow the government guidelines. And as long as you exercise and stay away from smoking and drinking, you could live a long, healthy life. However, if you have diabetes, you would be much better off following at least a low-carb paleo diet for a couple years to reverse the diabetes. Otherwise, you'll die of diabetes long before you can ever reach even 70 years old. Heart disease, same thing. Same thing as in, you're going to have to be much more strict and follow a more strict nutritional paradigm. Okay, the healthier you are, the more leeway you can have with your diet. But if you have gut issues, there's no use in trying to force yourself to eat grains just because it's part of a healthy, balanced diet. So health issues can be reversed using strict nutritional protocols like a carnivore or a vegan diet, a raw vegan diet, or fasting. Whereas just general longevity for an average person with no health issues can be achieved through basic common sense health factors. So I strongly believe in a ketogenic diet, but I also believe in a reasonable approach free of dogma. Okay, and I have a lot more to talk about that, but my iPhone only lets me record 10-minute videos. Leave your questions down below. Let me know what you think.